You describe yourself as a sensible environmentalist. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think first a sensible environmentalist means an environmentalist that uses science to inform their opinions and their policies and uses logic to come to conclusions. I think too much of the environmental movement is based on emotionalism, sensation, and using fear to make people afraid of their environment, afraid of the air, afraid of the water, afraid of their food. And I don't think that's the right approach. I think we have to be much more sensible in how we approach this issue. And the other thing a sensible environmentalist does is recognize that there are 7 billion people in the world, and every day when they wake up, they need food, energy, and materials. So sustainability is partly about how we continue to obtain the food, energy, and materials we need to survive. We have to take it from the environment. There's no other place. So our real challenge is to continue to take the food, energy, and materials, maybe develop strategies to reduce the rate of population growth, and also to look after the earth in such a way that it can keep providing us, so that we don't damage the earth's ability to provide us with what we need, at the same time also protecting nature. So it's a big job, but I don't see any other logical way to approach it than to be sensible in the way you do so.
When people look at your biography and see you're a Greenpeace co-founder and now a nuclear advocate, they don't believe it. Could you please tell me how your journey from a Greenpeace activist to a sensible environmentalist began?
Well, specifically, I think we made a serious error back in the day of Greenpeace when we kind of included nuclear energy with nuclear weapons, as if everything nuclear was wrong. And we should have recognized, but we were afraid of nuclear war, and we were afraid of radiation. And today I realize that with regard to nuclear energy, that was quite an irrational fear, that only in very exceptional circumstances should we be concerned about radiation, that in general, radiation is not harming people. And at least from nuclear energy. Nuclear weapons is a completely different issue, and we made the mistake of putting them together. And so if the environmental movement had recognized that nuclear energy is a superior form of energy production, that it is environmentally superior, there would be more nuclear plants today and not so many coal-fired power plants. And that would have been a better outcome for both human health and the environment.
You probably know some of the arguments raised by Polish green activists. I guess they're identical to those raised by activists all over the world. So if you had a chance to talk to them, what would you say?
The first thing I would say is, why are you opposed to one of the most important, perhaps the most important technology that can replace fossil fuels for electricity production? By being opposed to energy, you are condemning Poland to have coal burning forever, whereas this is an actual alternative which does not produce air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. So it's entirely self-defeating on the Greens' part to be against nuclear. I don't see how it's in any way progressive to be against nuclear. It is completely regressive. Many environmental policies are good from the Green movement, but this is one of the most backward ones, is that they are opposed to the very technology which can do what they say they want to do, which is to reduce the consumption of fossil fuels, in particular of coal. We can solve that problem with nuclear technology, and then if you look at the history of its safety, you will see that it is much safer than fossil fuels. 3,000 to 5,000 people die in just the coal mines every year, and then 2 million people die prematurely from breathing the smoke from burning fossil fuels every year. Only 56 people have died in the whole history of the nuclear industry, and that was all at Chernobyl, which should never have been built in the first place, and thankfully is being shut down completely now, that style of reactor, and replaced with safe reactors.